The reason why I'm doing this video is because there are a boatload of videos on YouTube with regards to attracting women. There are not enough videos with regards to long-term relationships, especially from a male perspective. What you need to know is this, is that the skill set required for short-term mating, one-night stands, quick flings, whatever you want to call it, is different, while there are some overlaps to that of maintaining a long-term relationship. For example purposes, if you've got a guy that goes to the gym on a regular basis, dresses well, takes care of his grooming and has good social skills, there is a high probability that he will do well with regards to short-term mating. For long-term relationships though, you've got to have a bit more about you. If you get a lot of your dating advice from YouTube, one thing you'll notice is that every man and his dog talks about looks, money and status. They'll have you believing that it's the be all and end all. Here's the thing with looks, money and status. It certainly helps with regards to attracting women. Let me repeat that, attracting women. But in the long run, those three things do not keep women around. So like I discussed earlier, you've got to have a bit more about you. You can't just rely on looks, money and status. Here's the thing, in a long-term relationship, you're going to have to be able to resolve conflict because it's going to happen. You're going to have to be able to make compromises, i.e. respect each other's needs and meet in the middle. You're going to have to be able to just plain old get along with each other. Some people might just call this emotional intelligence and maturity. A big part of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, and what you need to be aware of is this. That is, the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. And the reason why is because the relationship with yourself impacts all other relationships. Just look at it this way. If you treat yourself with love, kindness and respect, that's how you're going to treat the other person. You're also going to expect that back in return. This is going to make you a better communicator. You're going to be better at setting boundaries. You're also going to repel toxic people. If the relationship with yourself is dialed in, toxic people will want nothing to do with you. So now that you know about the importance of having a positive relationship with yourself, let's get on to the first piece of advice. When it comes to picking the right person, it's vital that you possess self-awareness. In other words, knowing yourself. The problem is not many people actually know who they are. From the second we leave the womb, we are getting molded. For example purposes, you have parents telling the kids to work hard and find a good job. You have teachers telling you to work hard, study hard and get good grades. When you become older, you have a boss directing your career. We have social pressure from friends and colleagues to fit in and be normal. We've got social media, advertising, television, billboards telling us what's acceptable and fashionable. The point I'm trying to make here is that we are constantly being molded and shaped. We've got all these external voices telling us what's right and what is wrong. Is it any wonder why the average person hasn't got a clue who they actually are? With regards to self-improvement, one of the best things I've ever done was go backpacking. In 2015, I went backpacking around Australia and New Zealand. And this is what it did for me. I'd gone into a new environment. I'd left England. I'd left the people that I'd been surrounded with all my life. For the very first time, I'd actually left my family. And I had no television. I had no social media. Had none of these external voices coming in. So you know what it allowed me to do? It allowed me to think. It allowed me to be alone with my own thoughts. And it is probably the first time in my life that I'd actually spent a significant time with my own thoughts. I'm not for 1 second suggesting that you need to travel to the other side of the world to discover who you are. You can do this in your home country. This could be something as simple as renting out a cabin for a couple of days and spending time there. No phones, no social media, no television, no books, no people. Just you alone with your own thoughts. Some people might be thinking to themselves, well, that's a bit extreme. I can't do that. You don't need to go in a cabin. You could maybe just go fishing for the day or go for a hike alone. The point I'm trying to make is every now and again, get away from external influences. This is actually very good for your sanity. So when it comes to healthy relationships, the very first step is to pick the right person right from the very get-go. And this entails you having a healthy relationship with yourself. She should be someone that you can actually see yourself spending a considerable amount of time with. If you enjoy her company, that is probably a very, very good sign. Also, she should enjoy spending time with you. So find a woman that values the same things as you. Ultimately, it is similarities that bring people together. I'm just going to be raw, honest and blunt with you, and that is a lot of guys lose women in the bedroom. A massive part of self-improvement is learning how to pull women. It is a skill. When I was in my early 20s, I always found that I did better with older women. I preferred the conversation. I found them much easier to talk to. Not to mention, they tend to be better in bed. And the reason why is they're simply more experienced. If you're a young guy watching this and you lack sexual experience, forget long-term relationships. Go out and play the field and find yourself an older woman. She might just teach you a thing or two. Now let's get back to relationships. With regards to sex, it can actually be quite easy to get into a rut. And the reason being is once you've had sex with the same woman many times, you can fall into a routine. This can easily happen. There's a reason why I've titled this section, Keep Experimenting in the Bedroom, because you've got to keep switching things up. You've got to keep it different. The brain is wired for novelty. If you do the same thing over and over again, it is going to get real boring fast. So the bottom line is this: what goes on, but also what doesn't go on inside the bedroom can make or break a relationship. I think so many guys would actually be surprised how many married women cheat on the husbands. A big reason as to why they do it is because they are not sexually satisfied at home. So what do? They look elsewhere and stray. Once you get over the initial stages of the relationship, i.e. the honeymoon phase, you really have to make a conscious effort to understand where the other person is coming from. For example, we are all shaped by the environment we grow in. Even though you might have similarities with a person, it doesn't mean that she's going to see things exactly the same way as you. So when you're with somebody, it requires you to be patient and understanding. With regards to relationships, many of them die out due to a complete breakdown in communication. When this happens, it causes people to bottle up their emotions, which in return causes resentment. Open and honest communication is the key. This entails discussing expectations about each other. So what do you expect of her? What does she expect of you? Talking about money. Again, being open and honest. Discussing solutions that can help the relationship grow further. Talking about sex and sexual needs. Talking about behavioural issues rather than attacking the other person. This requires a level-headed approach and maturity. So with regards to open and honest communication, it does not mean that you will not encounter problems. There will always be problems, but you can solve those problems actively and constructively.